Hello?
Hey,
There you go. Hey, how's it going, Chris?
good. Hey, everyone. Once you get on, please let me know if you can hear and see me okay. And Nobita, I'm not going to help you. That's not what this is for. Use your brain, then use support, and then you'll get the answers that you need. But I can't help you with your customer support issue on a live stream with dozens of people on. So a little common sense would have told you that. So go ahead and use support, and they'll help you instantly, like faster than it would have taken for me to chew you out just now. Everybody else, if you are here, please let me know how the picture and sound quality is so I can get started in just a moment or two. If you're watching this in the future and you're seeing this, that means it hasn't been edited out yet. So what you're going to want to do is skip ahead to about the 10-minute mark because we're going to do some interactive stuff that won't make a lot of sense if you're watching this on a replay. It won't be very interesting for you. So jump ahead to the 10-minute mark. And once you do that, click subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out in the future. Everybody else is saying everything looks good. Hello, boss. Hello, great. So what we're going to do now that people are telling us that we sound and look good, but let's be honest, we knew we look good. But the sound is good, so we're going to go ahead and give away some stuff because I want to buy your affection. Because as I just showed Nobita there, I don't have a good enough personality to make people like me for me. So I have to give things away in order to earn your love. So I'm going to do that here in just a second. And then it also gets us more attention because I need the attention. So let me go ahead and present and share my screen. Jim says, how are you? I'm great, Jim. I don't think that's actually your name, but I'm doing great, Jim. I hope you are as well. Aaron says, hey, Chris. Hey, Aaron. Long time no see. All right. So you are looking at the recently redesigned Legiit merch store. And this is actually new. That wasn't there the last time I looked at this. So that's when you know you have a good business going, by the way, is when shit happens that you didn't even know was happening and it's good. So I'm very happy when things like that happen. But you can see some of it here, and then you can come up here and go to Shop Our Gear, which I still want to change because I hear gear and I think steroids. So I don't know what that says about me, but that's what the meatheads call steroids. Anyway, we have a bunch of different options here. You know, you have coffee mugs, a T-shirt. Looks like kind of like a, well, I don't want Disney to sue me, but it looks like a version of a popular sci-fi franchise. It says a logo. We got some coffee and some other things. And one I want to find, let me see if I can find it here, that has been very, very popular and was made by popular demand. And of course, I can't find it. Here is a baseball cap or a hat that's been very, very popular with, as somebody actually requested that we start selling those. And I bought 15 of them to start, and they're already all gone. So very happy about that. But anyway, what I'm going to be doing is giving away the piece of merchandise of your choice. Are you dumb? I literally just spent 5 minutes chewing you out and telling you what to do. Use your ears, do what I tell you, go get help. Right now, I'm seeing why your account was rejected, though, is because you can't follow direction. Go to support, contact the support team, and they will help you if you deserve to be helped. I'm not going to answer this again, and if you ask again, I'm going to kick you off. So let's go ahead and give away some merch. And let's say attention's kind of hard to type, so let's just go with Ortiz. So what I'm going to ask you to do is in the chat or in the comments or wherever you're watching, unfortunately, if you're on Instagram or LinkedIn, I don't think this is going to work. But go ahead and type in Ortiz in the comments and stuff. And this will enter you in for a piece of legit merch of your choice. Jim, this is why I didn't think your name was actually Jim. I live in Bangladesh. Can I order your products from Bangladesh? I think so. I think we can ship there. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go around and share this in a few places. I can't stream to Facebook groups anymore because they shut off the groups API, which is disappointing, but so I have to share it to those groups, but it just doesn't work as well. But you know, one person is better than zero. unless you're in shit relationship, and then it's not. All right, share to a group. Legit group. And everyone live now. Lots of people, actually not lots of people saying Ortiz. I guess no one wants anything for free today. Yeah, there we go. There's like a couple dozen people on, so try to win things for free. I don't know about you, but I like free things.
Me too. I love free stuff.
It's weird how that works because like I recently discovered like $84 I had in a debit, like not a debit card, but like a gift card from Apple, and like that's really not that much money, but I was so excited about that. There's just something about free that makes things better. Live now. All right, now we're starting to get a little bit of engagement. That's good. I need the attention. I'm a narcissist. So while we're doing, I don't really care that you need design work, Nobita. I'm sorry to be a bit grouchy. I'm not actually. I just I don't like people that don't show proper respect to our guests, and you're being disrespectful.
Well, to be fair, he's just typing in all kinds of craziness in the
Yeah,
chat to begin with. So
I know. Now it went from I need design work to I'm a video editor. Those are different things.
yeah. He also said earlier, I'm a t-shirt designer.
He's a anyway. It reminds me that I can't remember the name of the movie, but there was this movie where Leonardo DiCaprio was like this fugitive, and he was like a doctor, and he was like past the bar.
Oh, yes, yes.
It reminds me of that.
He also became like a pilot, right? Or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, yeah.
Catch Me If You Can. That's what it was
Yes, there
called.
we go. A great movie.
Yeah. And let me just make a few more notifications to get as many folks on, and we're going to go to about another 2 minutes or so, and then we will choose our winner. I don't think I shared to this page.
And is my video okay, Chris? On my end, it looks like it keeps flashing, so I'm not sure if
It was in the beginning. It seems to have stopped now.
Okay,
I mean,
perfect.
it was like blinking in the beginning, but it seems to have stopped now.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we're getting some folks on. I see some familiar faces and some less common faces. I don't know if that's good grammar, but I think you know what I mean. All right. Followers live now. And Facebook reach is just terrible. It used to be so good.
Yeah, used to be like the only way to get things done.
Yeah. Well, it used to like when you would do a live stream, it would tell everybody on your friends list you went live, whether they wanted to know or not. And now, like, I have to fight to get anybody to pay attention. Like, I have to do the tags and stuff that piss everybody off.
The lovely at everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to get as much hate as it used to. I don't know if people have just gotten used to it, or
I think so.
I never understood that because, like, it says tagged you and others, so just don't read those if that bothers you. But anyway, all right. We got about 1 minute left, less than a minute, really. Then we will choose a winner. Watch it. Watch, it's going to be that annoying guy. Just because that's the way things have gone lately.
He hasn't actually put in Ortiz yet out of everything, which is
of course. Because why follow direction?
Yeah.
All right. Few seconds left. If you want to look as cool as I do, well, let's be honest, it's not going to let me make you look as cool as I do. But if you want to wear the same stuff that I do, you just put in Ortiz in the next few seconds, and you will have looks like about a 1 in 12 or 1 in 13, I guess, if you added one and you haven't already, shot at getting a piece of merchandise for free. It is blinking again a little bit.
Okay, I'm just gonna plug it back in, see what's going on with camera.
Troubleshooting 101. All right. Stop saying Ortiz now. I'm going to choose a winner. And the winner is Bailey Morris. Congratulations, Bailey. Well, first of all, let me screenshot that so I can send it to our fulfillment team. But what you're going to do, my friend, is this. You are going to come over to shop.legiit.com and choose whatever you want. Make sure you look through all 4 pages. I recommend the hat. And then what you're going to do, if it's something that requires a size, like a t-shirt, you're going to make note of that. And then what you're going to do is come over to Legiit Prime. I like saying it like that as opposed to just saying legit. Legiit Prime sounds like a superhero thing. And then you're going to click down here. I mean, you notice how I like intentionally had my earnings up just to flex a little bit.
Very impressive.
And you're going to click on the support bubble, and you're going to click send us a message. As you can see, they will reply in under 2 minutes. You're going to tell them that you won. If it's a clothing item, you're going to tell them your size, and then you're going to tell them your mailing address, and they will get that right out to you. So again, congratulations, Bailey, on what's really the highlight of your entire life, I would imagine. So there's that. All right, enough of that. For those of you that I told to jump ahead to the 10-minute mark, welcome back. For everybody else, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be, well, not we aren't going to be, we are joined by Gregory Ortiz, a 3-time guest here on the channel, and someone I've known for a better part of a decade now. And he's going to talk to us today about client retention, and then he's going to talk to us about a chance to get to meet and hang out with both of us live. So, Gregory, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Thanks for having me. Excited to be back the 3rd time.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So just, I mean, most everybody here probably knows who you are, but can you just give us your backstory just in case there's anyone that's wondering why the hell should I listen to this guy?
Sure. So about 10 years ago, I got into this entire crazy digital marketing SEO world. Within the first couple of months, I did pretty well, ranked #1 for New York City SEO. My career then shot up a bunch from that point on. I ended up partnering with Alex Becker. We ended up teaching tens of thousands of people how to learn and do SEO. And since that point on to now, which has been about a decade, I've just been doing everything I can in digital marketing, helping as many people as possible in many different facets, and just growing and scaling my agency. Most importantly, especially since the pandemic hit, that's been one of my main focuses, which is especially kind of grown the topic that I'll be speaking about at Legiit Live, which is client retention.
Can you tell the Bed Bath and Beyond part of that story?
Oh yeah, sure. So I also, at the time when I was learning everything, I was working at Bed Bath& Beyond, which by the way is now out of business. So I've outlived them. Hooray. And I was working at Bed Bath& Beyond. So I was a guy I was a manager. I was a guy who would yell at people for folding towels incorrectly, funny enough. But I hated my job, couldn't stand it. I really disliked the people that I work with, the people that I worked for, and also just the entire environment. The customers were horrible, horrible people. So I really didn't enjoy it. But at the time, I had a brand new son that was born. You know, he had to be about 2.5, 3 years old at the time. He was actually not born when I first started working there, but I was there for 5 years. But anyway, when I started learning SEO, he was about 2.5, 3 years old, and I started realizing I was missing a lot of his first. Like the first time he did this, the first time he did that, and then I said to myself, like, if I want to make a change in my life, I need to actually make a change in my life. So instead of doing the same thing over and over again, figure something else out. And while working at Bed Bath & Beyond, that's when I started to learn how to do SEO and everything else during a program that I had joined. And I spent most of my time that I was awake anyway, which would be all either working at Bed Bath & Beyond or working on learning SEO. I missed a bunch of firsts in between that period, but I knew it would all pay off, and thankfully it has. I actually have my son upstairs in the room, so I'm able to be home with him at any time as well, which is great. But my life changed completely from being a manager at Bed Bath & Beyond to the way things are now. There's like no comparison between the two. To me, it's still kind of like a pinch myself type of thing where it feels like a dream. But yeah.
The timeline is a little different, but I used to work at Circuit City in the warehouse for 5 years, and they're also out of business. So it's it's interesting. It was still many years before I got into this, but it's interesting. Also, funny about that is I don't know about Bed Bath & Beyond, but that book, Good to Great, that everybody says is a great business book. Circuit City is one of the companies that they talk about in that, and it's out of business. Like 3 or 4 of the companies in that book are out of business now. So it makes me I use that as a point to like I'm not to knock on whoever the author was, but to they be particular about who you take advice from, because obviously that guy was wrong about most of those companies.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, uh, when most people want to make more money or make more, I say more, be more profitable, I guess is the right way to put it, from an agency, the first thought is I need to either offer more stuff or get more clients, right? Uh, which, is valid, but also that adds a whole other set of complications. That doing more things makes your business more complicated. Having more clients takes away from the things that you want to do, like spend time with your son, but also, again, makes your business more complicated because I don't know about you, but I've had times when I like didn't get a deal and I was like, thank God, now I don't have to do it. So
Oh yeah. Plenty of those over the years.
yeah, so there's only one other way to continue to be profitable, and part of that is because SEO, which is the main thing you offer. I should assume you do some PPC and stuff too, but is a lot of the time, like the cost to you is done after the first few months, and then it becomes incredibly profitable. So the key to that, I would, and tell me if I'm wrong, would be to make sure that people don't cancel, and that you retain them, and that's kind of what you plan to talk about. And then maybe you can just kind of tell us what that means a little bit without going into too much detail, and then we can talk about where they can learn more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So, you bring up a great point. Like if there was like a chart, right, that I could just see visually in my head, the longer you retain a client, just as you said, the more profitable they become. As most of us know, a big bulk of the money that the client is paying us, you have to use that towards the front beginning of the campaign because it takes a lot of things to get things up and going. You need to onboard them, you need to ramp things up, you need to get links, you need to do all these other things. You can outsource, obviously, most of it on Legit. And there's a lot of other things that you'll need to kind of get the client up and going. But once their rankings start to kind of settle down, you're not investing as much into continuing to maintain those rankings or get them traffic. For me, I like to focus more on traffic than rankings, but I just like to say rankings because so many people in our industry still focus on that. But it's one of the things where the longer you can retain the client, the more profitable you'll be. And just as you mentioned, Chris, like that's one of the things that was a big aha moment for me, especially during the pandemic. Like I've always kind of known that subconsciously, and it's always worked out that way. But during the pandemic, when people, when you have clients calling and saying, "Hey, like we don't know what's happening right now, we need to shut down for a little bit. Can we put payments on pause?" It then makes you rethink your entire business. And for me, it made me think, okay, well, if I can't get new clients right now because no one's signing up at this moment, this is like at the very beginning of the pandemic, everything is shut down. No one is going to go ahead and get new clients. It's pretty difficult. What can I do to keep the clients I have? And for me, it became a whole thing of digging into how to retain the clients that I currently had that still stayed on board and were sticking with through everything during the beginning of COVID. But even more importantly, just like you mentioned, I noticed that, profitability wise, like some of these clients had been with me for years and years and years, and most of the money was pure profit that was coming in. So it's like, I want to get more of this. How do I replicate this moving forward once this pandemic and kind of everything are over? And that's really what I focused on. And just as you mentioned, at Legit Live, I'll be speaking on stage about client retention, a couple unique ways that we've done client retention here at the agency. Most of them I haven't heard anyone else speak about before, like at all. And it's a couple of things that maybe I'm not the first person to come up with it, but I'm the first person I know of that has implemented a couple of these things as well. And it's one of those things where, like, when I talk to people about client retention, and anyone in the chat, of course, feel free to chime in, but like most people feel that it's much harder to get a new client than it is to just keep the current client you have. So not only is it more profitable to retain your clients, but it's actually easier to retain them once you have a system in place. Obviously, the hard part is getting that system and kind of making sure you kind of check all your boxes. But once you have all that completed, it's much easier to retain that client than it is to go out and find a new client. And I find like a lot of us go in this vicious circle of continuing to get new clients and wanting to acquire new clients, new clients, new clients. And it's because like for every 2 to 3 clients you get, you end up losing one. Well, what if you didn't lose any of them? What if you lost less of them? What would that look like for you? And that's what I'll be speaking about a lot at Legit Live.
So yeah, and it's like, for whatever reason, like I don't know if it's just not as compelling of a topic, but if you look in your LinkedIn inbox, you're going to have people that offering to get you 30 to 100 appointments a day. And there's a lot of courses on how to generate like leads and get more clients and sales. Nobody really talks about this other than maybe a couple of people. And I don't know. I mean, why do you think that is? You think it's just not as sexy of a topic or what?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, like, in our industry, we're a little unique because, okay, so way back in the day, like when I first kind of got things started, I used to sell a lot of PBNs. And a good buddy of mine at the time, Cotton, had actually told me a phrase I had never heard before. And he was like, during the gold rush, the people who made the most money were the people selling the shovels, not the people actually getting the gold, which was pretty paradigm shifting for myself to look at it that way. So I look at a lot of things like that moving forward. And to kind of tie that back into this, like we're marketers. So we're essentially like selling the shovels, right? Like we're the ones who are getting people traffic. We're the ones who are getting people customers. So our whole goal and focus for our clients is to get them as many customers as possible and to keep getting them new ones because most of these businesses, they're not really signing people on a retainer. Right? Like if you're a plumber, if you're a home builder, if you're most of these home service based businesses, which are most of them, you're not really signing someone up for, recurring services. It's just a one-time thing. So you have to keep getting them new clients. And I think a lot of us confuse ourselves with that's what we're doing all the time for our clients. That's also what we need to do for ourselves. So you end up losing that focus on retaining the clients you have because it's very hard unless you have the systems in place and the right teams. And some people do, but for most people, you don't to be able to retain the current clients you have and continue to grow and scale without losing very many clients at the same point. So just like you said, it's not as sexy because most of us are stuck getting new clients for our customers all the time. So we think that's what we need to do all the time as well. And it's great. Of course, you want to keep growing your business, but it's not necessarily the end all be all or the only thing you should be doing.
What's the longest you've ever kept someone, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I still have a client from when I first got started about 10 years ago. So they've been with me. We're about to make a decade in a couple of months. So that'll be the longest client that I've had.
Yeah, I have one like that. I've had him since 2015, so it's 9 years almost. I still had a day job actually when I signed him. I remember I took the phone call in the bathroom at my office, not my office, but at the
Yeah.
office of the company I worked at, because I didn't want to get in trouble for doing that while I was at work. So yeah, so 9 years for me. So I guess I tell that story, one, because it's funny, but two, because like it kind of illustrates how much it can be. Now he's not a very, if he's watching, no disrespect, he's not a very high paying client, but I've made more from him than I have made from people that I charge 10 times as much from, because he's been with me longer than all of my relationships combined. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like it's the same thing with mine. Pay is the least amount out of everyone that I have because he's locked in at the price when we first brought him on board.
Mhm.
Obviously, we've upsold him some stuff since then, like PPC, etc., but he still pays less than everyone. But just like you mentioned, I make more money from him not only because of the retention of keeping him, but also all of the referrals he's brought in over those last 10 years as well.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too that you have to keep in mind when you're doing retention. Like when you keep a client and the client loves your services, then they're way less reluctant to refer you. And we're all in this industry very big on referrals, and we try to hammer our clients to give us referrals like in the first 3 months, 6 months, 9 months that we get them results. But when you think about it, like most people in general, you're reluctant to refer someone to a business that you've been using for less than a year if your friend is going to be spending a lot of money with this business. And once you've built that relationship where, hey, I've had this marketing company for 2, 3, 4 years, I know they're legit,
Hey,
no pun intended, then let me go ahead and refer them over to this agency. And that's also going to help you grow and scale as well. So retention can hit on many different points.
yeah. I don't want to get into anything that you plan on talking about at the event, but if there was just one or two things that people could do better, what would it be? I think number one is probably, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, is communication. Uh, I mean, how many times have you heard I heard these guys and I never heard from them? And I would imagine the other one is don't be an asshole. But if you had a couple of which should be common sense, but
No,
no,
it's
no, it's
it's
not.
funny you mentioned that those two are two of the biggest ones, actually. So communication, because just like you said, when I speak to a new company and they're interested in having our services or what have you, one of the biggest things they'll complain about is, oh, my previous agency, I didn't really hear from them, or I didn't understand what the hell was going on. That's another big thing I'm going to talk about at Legit Live, like people not understanding what we do. Because to them, what we do looks like magic. They have no
Mhm.
idea. They just pay us money. And magically, they're now getting more calls and more traffic coming to their business. They don't really understand it. Facebook ads and Google ads, business owners are able to digest a little bit better because
Mhm.
they can understand it themselves somewhat. Some of them can even, like watch a YouTube video and put together like a YouTube campaign or a Facebook ads campaign or something like that. But SEO itself, no, they don't really understand it. So that's another big one as well I mentioned. For them to understand a little bit more. And that all comes back to what? Communication, just as you mentioned. So if you're not communicating with them enough about not just one thing, but many things, you're not really going to retain them long enough. I mean, I like to let everyone know, like, think about it. Most of the clients you're going to bring on board, bare minimum, at least in my opinion, you're going to charge them 1500 a month. Everyone has different prices, so let's just use 1500 as a baseline. But you charge them 1500 a month. If you were paying 1500 a month to someone, would you want there to be some form of communication? Of course. You would definitely want there to be. So it's the exact same thing from the client side. And for some of these people, like we end up retaining most of these clients just by having simple communication with them. That blows my mind that other agencies didn't have. Like for some of them, we don't even need to go above and beyond. Like we have different layers of retention in the agency, but for most of them, it's just a baseline retention of, hey, checking in with them, seeing how they're doing. And a lot of agencies, for some reason, don't do that. They're too busy, like I mentioned, trying to get new customers, trying to get new leads, trying to chase new money when you're about to lose the current money you do have, which doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah. And the other one is don't be an asshole. Like, I don't know
Yeah,
how much deeper
don't
you
don't
can
be an
go on
asshole is
that.
a big one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it again should go without saying, but a lot of shitty people in our industry. Let's be honest. I hate to like dunk on our own industry, but it's true. Like I think another reason that people focus on new clients rather than retention is because they have no values and they don't actually care about helping people. Like they consider a successful client relationship one where they pay you. You know what I mean? It's like they don't care if what they do gets results or if they're even if you get results, even if the person is happy. Like they just see numbers and they don't see people. Maybe I'm being cynical. I don't know, but
No, no, I agree with you. And kind of tying in the same vein of being an asshole, some people just think like, how dare they contact me or question my work or this, and that.
yeah,
Like, if you have anyone that you hire for anything at the amount your clients are paying you, you have the right to ask questions.
yeah,
If you are in this business and you don't believe that your client should be able to ask you questions, you're probably not probably, you're definitely in the wrong business, first off. But second off, you need to change your frame of thinking because I don't know
mm,
any industry you can get into that you could be a business owner, people will pay you significant money for, and they're not allowed to ask any type of questions or to wonder how things are going. But there's so
yeah,
many people who are like, oh man, I got this client, they're annoying because they just keep asking, like, what are we doing? And I'm like, okay, well, are you communicating with them anything you're doing?
right.
Well, no, just their monthly reporting. I'm like, well, imagine if that was you. How frustrated would you be? You don't know what the fuck is going on. So, yeah,
Well, and if you communicate well enough, long enough, you'll get to where all you have to do is monthly reporting. If that,
exactly.
like
Yep.
it'll just be such a normal thing that they don't even think about that. But yeah, I mean, and I get. There's a difference between someone asking a question and someone questioning you. I think someone questioning you, I think you're right to get a little annoyed by, if unless you like deserve it. But yeah, just somebody asking, what's this, what's that? Like, of course, it's common sense.
Yeah,
You know?
especially when it's in the beginning. Now, if you've been getting them results and crushing it for the last 2 to 5 years, and out of nowhere, they're like, hey, I'm not getting any calls. What's happening? It's like, well, hold on. Are you having a bad day? Like, what's going on? Because you got to remember, too, like the clients, they're also people. They
Mm-hmm.
have shitty days. They maybe argued with their significant other. Maybe something else is going on in their life. Like, there's all different kind of, intricacies that come into this. You have to keep that in mind, too, where some people might just be like, oh, that customer was an asshole. Fuck them. I went ahead and cut them off. I fired my client. And I'm like, well, how long were they an asshole for? Oh, for one day. They told me off. Like, fired them over one day. Like, maybe they were having a bad day. Maybe you guys should like have talked that through. You would have been able to retain that, $3,000 a month client. But a lot of people like to react with, emotion as opposed to, kind of
Yeah, there's a lot of
like,
content out there that fuels that shit too.
yeah.
There's a lot of like know your worth and don't let anyone tell you how to run your business. And like, I think that it gives the wrong message sometimes, whether that's sent from a good place or not. But the know your worth thing in general, I find creates bad attitudes in people because sometimes you're not worth shit. First of all, no one ever wants to hear that, but it's like the people that think they're entitled to charge 5 grand a month for their first client. Like, you haven't proven that you can deliver like that. But those are the people that are quick to fire clients that a conversation could have solved.
Yeah, exactly. And a big thing is, like you mentioned, communication and not being an asshole to me all boil back to people skills. Some people just don't have great people skills, and that's
Mm.
okay. If you're one of those people and you're running an agency and you don't have good people skills, you gotta kind of figure that out. But most importantly, you can hire people that have good people skills. Like that's what you need to have within your agency, or you're outsourced to amazing people on Legit that have great people skills. You know what I mean? So there's always a way to figure things out and to get things going. Oh, and speaking of great people, shout out to James Slattery. I see him in the chat. What's up, James?
Yeah, and for whatever reason, our industry attracts people that don't have great people skills a lot of the time. At least that's been my experience. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
so wonderful. So that's a kind of like, I guess, like a good introduction to client retention. But I'm guessing it goes a lot deeper than that, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. At Legit Live, I'm going to go into detail on everything. I'm going to have some specific examples from other agency owners that I've been able to help. Some of the results that have come from that as well. I'll also have a couple different AI GPTs that we've put together that we use specifically in our agency for client retention. I'll be giving those away at Legit Live as well, and all other kinds of stuff. I'll also obviously be answering people's questions because some people are going to have specific questions for their
No, they're not
agents.
allowed to ask you questions.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine. Yeah.
Eh, Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit because that makes me money. And that's really my goal to any of I'm kidding. But no, let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, let's just talk about the concept of live events in general and the benefit that you, because I've met you at two of them now, one where I was in attendance, one where I was presenting. I don't know, just talk about how, if you think they're beneficial at all, maybe you don't. And if
Mhm.
so, in what way?
Yeah, so I mean, the most money I've ever made in my life was from attending an event. Now, I've made a lot of money from attending a lot of events, but the very first one was the first live event that I went to when I first got started. And I started in May of 2014. This event was in November of 2014 in Franklin, Tennessee. And that's actually where I met Becker face to face, Alex Becker. That's where we had our entire initial discussion at the bar about potentially joining him and getting things going with, at the time, it was Source University and teaching everyone. That alone catapulted my career, has made me more money than I can probably count, and everything else. So for me, that alone was beyond worth it. But even if you take that out of the equation, all of the other events that I've been to, I've either been able to A, make partnerships with amazing people, B, find amazing people that I can ask questions to because, none of us know everything.
Right.
And since all of us have different skill sets, we're able to reach out to our network, right? And you know, everyone has heard your net worth is your network and blah blah blah, but it's the absolute truth. Like, I'm thankful that I go to these events and meet amazing people because not only do you have the camaraderie of meeting people, because like one of the big things that I personally feel every time I go to these events, it's for me it's great because I don't really know anyone in real life except when
Right.
I go travel somewhere who does what we do. So it can be kind of lonely sometimes. No one speaks the same language as you. It's way different than just doing it,
Mm.
even if you did Zoom with people, even if you did anything where you can like see each other through a camera, it's way different than physically being there.
Yeah.
And most importantly, you get to know people, you get to understand people, and you get to build that friendship with people. And for me, like even if we took money out of the equation, which once again, so much money I've seen get made from other people, and I've made money myself from different connections of going to these events. But more importantly, it also does a thing, and at least for me in my brain, where it motivates the hell out of me to want to grow and scale my business and make more money. Every time I come back from an event, I'm completely fired up about a bunch of things that I need to get done and a bunch of things that I need to implement ASAP or new things that I've heard about that I've never heard about before that are making money. And it's like, hey, let me look into this. And then I'll go ahead and I'll try it and I'll make a bunch of money from it. So there's a lot of different, layers to the onion when it comes to going to these events. But in my opinion, they are the most important things that there are out there. And I can just tell you personally, I didn't really go to any events that were outside of like my own circle, right? For a very long time, for many years. I want to say about the first 7 years or so. And then
Yeah.
I started going to events that other people were hosting outside of my circle. And because of that, I've grown so many different business opportunities that have taken place. I've formed new businesses completely that were making a lot of money. And I've made, most importantly, a lot of new friendships. So I'm open always now to going to any events that make sense in our industry. So for me, I can't say enough about how amazing it is to go to events, especially an event like this one coming up, because I know we have a lot of heavy hitters coming to this event too. So it's going to be great.
Now, before we go into the details on that, like there also are like I don't want to because I agree with everything you said, but there are also some bad events. And to me, a bad event is one where every single person is pitching you something, or the whole event is designed to pitch you something. Like I was talking to Jim yesterday, and he went to what's the Grant Cardone event, like the 10x
Yeah.
whatever. He said he went to that a few years ago, and every single person was pitching whatever it was that they were pitching. And then I went to a digital marketer event in November of 2022, and it was basically an in-person webinar to like pitch you a $40,000 program. And then if you made over a certain amount of revenue, they took you to like this special breakfast where they pitched you a $100,000 program, which would get them like party. Anyway, my point was I traveled all that way to just get pitched stuff. Have you ever been to any like that? And do those suck?
Yeah, they're not my favorite. They're a big reason why I had stayed in events within my own circle for a while, because it's just like you said, one of those things where it's like I don't want to spend, I mean, spending the money, absolutely. I don't want to spend the money to go travel somewhere to get pitched to and ask for more money. But most importantly, I don't want to spend my time leaving my home, my family, my everything to go to an event where people are just going to go ahead and try to sell me stuff. I could just do that at home. Like send
Yeah.
me a webinar link, I'll watch the webinar and keep it going from there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Don't
it's
have to
one of
get out
those
of your
things where it's
boxers.
super frustrating. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I bring that up because that was something I was determined to make sure was not the case. And I was very particular on who I invited to participate because some people wanted to get paid to speak, which is like defeats the purpose to me. Because like then they're gonna want to anyway. And then I had one guy. That was one guy today that out of nowhere. But anyhow, um, and then well, where was I going with that? Oh, but I also wanted to get people that I know could be that would just be willing to give whatever they're good at. So it would be that. So the main, I guess the point is that nobody's going to pitch you anything, even though this is a branded event. So inherently there's a little bit of commercial in it because it's like, the name of the event is after my company. So of course there's going to be that, but nobody's going to be trying to sell you anything. In fact, I'm going to give away some shit. And so far, so is everybody else that I've spoken to. So I wanted to make sure that we make that point that that's not what's going to happen here because I don't get down like that. So anyway, let's move on to the event itself. First of all, I've put on the screen Gregory's link. You can go to legitlive.com/Ortiz. And if you use, because I'm consistent, you can use coupon code Ortiz to get 35% off. And by the way, today is the absolute last day that you'll be able to get it for the price that we're going to talk about here in just a moment. So, and then you can get 35% off of that. So, saving money is good, I guess, is the moral there. I try to put things in as plain English as possible because, you know, I I don't know. I'll let you. First of all, I've added this morning. This is the VIP event that will be on the 13th. So yeah, there's that. This is the agenda. There's not much point in covering that. It'll be catered. These are some of the speakers. Let me zoom out some. And if you know of any of these folks, let me kind of share your thoughts on them. There's me, and of course, I hate that picture, but and Jim, who is the co-founder here at Legiit. But do you know anything about this guy?
I know a bit about him. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so you're not all the speak. No, I'm just kidding. That's you, of course, and then Andrew, who runs the paid media for Legiit. He's also created he's involved in creating the commercial that we put out a few months ago. That was really well done. It's a very creative guy, has some really interesting insights on paid ads. Legiit was really hard to find someone to do paid ads for because it's not the simple, you make an ad, you run it to a page, and then they go to the next page, you made money. It's not that simple because we don't control the product, and it was really hard to find someone that understood that. And he's been working with us for a couple of years. Eldar, do you know Eldar?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Eldar is he's going to be talking about Facebook marketing. It's a real character of a personality, so that'll be good. Navneet is someone that almost nobody knows, but everyone should. He's one of the best SEOs I know. He's coming all the way from India to speak to us. I think that's the I'm not good at geography. I have people coming from India, and Eldar's coming from Israel, and then we have somebody who I guess she's not making it, but she's coming from UK. Anyway, Navneet has been in the industry a long time. He knows SEO really, really well, and nobody's ever really heard of him, at least that I know of. I don't know if you know him, but
I don't, but I'm excited to get to meet him.
That's kind of the point I was trying to get. I was hoping you would feed me there, so I'm glad that you did. Is that people like him and people like Andrew may not be that well known within our industry, but they're the people that get shit done. And I wanted to expose not only for their benefit, but also for the benefit of the people in attendance to people they may not have been as familiar with, so they can learn from them as well. Brian, Brian, can you tell us a little bit about what you know of him?
Yeah, so Brian is actually one of the smartest marketers I've ever met, period. And it's funny because like he's one of the people that it's funny because I attended an event not that long ago, and Brian and I actually got to hang out, speak face to face and everything. And I went to send him a message on Facebook, and you know how it shows like any messages you've ever sent before. He
Mm-hmm.
had sent me a message years ago when I had first gotten started, and he was living in Long Island. I believe he still does now. And I was living in New York City at the time. And he had sent me a message, hey, like we maybe we should have a meetup, hang out, blah, blah, blah. And I was getting a bunch of those messages at the time. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have time for it, but definitely would love to touch base with you. Now, Brian and I are actually partners on a project that we're working on together. So it's funny how things work out because I got to meet him at an event, kind of like we were speaking about before, got to pick his brain, got to realize how not only intelligent he was in general, but how smart he was in marketing and a lot of unique ways he does his marketing. I've never either A, thought of, even after my decade of being here, or B, have never implemented because I thought it would be too hard when he has like very simple ways to kind of get this stuff done. So for me, it was very, very eye-opening to not only meet him, but now I can thankfully call him a friend. So he is an amazing human being, and first off, but he's an amazing marketer more than anything else, I'd imagine.
I had a somewhat similar experience with him. He had been a customer on Legiit for years, and I didn't know that. And like I knew him from Facebook and from being around the community. And then when he was doing his presentation at a event I was at earlier this year, and he listed the name of his agency, Max Places. I was like, holy shit, that's one of our best customers. I remember like going and looking up his orders and sending it to our team. I was like, one of our best customers is speaking right now. I never made the connection until I met him in person. And now he's, I've gotten to know him pretty well, and he's coming to speak at my event too. So again, kind of the value of live events and networking. So that's that. Michael. Now Michael's a really shy guy, right? Like he's really reserved and quiet. Would you?
He is the complete opposite of that. He is a character
Yeah.
among himself. He's also complete genius when it comes to anything relating to GMB. Also a good buddy of mine, and also someone that I met at an event as well. I mean, there's
Same.
a common trend with a lot of my internet marketing buddies and partners that I've made over the last 10 years. I've met them at events. So once
Yeah.
again, I can't stress how important it is to be at events. But he's someone also that I met at an event, I want to say roughly 2.5, if not 3 years ago, and someone that I speak to at least once a week, if not more, every single week as well.
Yeah. What I like about him is that he's the same all the time. Like he's
Yeah,
very, you might not think that because he's such a character and such a gregarious personality, but he's the same. Like even myself, I'm more.
I like that word, gregarious. Sorry.
Thank you. Oh, because of your name. Like even on on when I do these streams, I'm a bit turned up. He's not like he's the same that you get him on a stream in person at a restaurant. He's the same all the time. Now there's not enough of that in the world, so it's great. I also fun story. The first time I met him was at SEO spring training, and like I was like the third or fourth speaker, And somewhere in my presentation, I said fuck. I'm like, God damn it. Now I'm going to be the guy that said fuck in his presentation all weekend. And then Michael was like two speakers after me. I was like, nope, never mind. I'm okay.
Oh yeah.
Every other word was fuck. So I always think that's always my favorite story to tell about him. Terry, now you know Terry as well, right?
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of meeting Terry also at an event roughly 3 years ago. And Terry is someone that I consider a very good friend, along with his wife as well. I love the
Mm,
both of them. They're amazing people. They're two of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, not just in marketing, but just in general. And Terry also does things way differently than I've ever done them
yeah,
before.
same.
Like, and through, seeing him speak at a bunch of different conferences, but also getting to know him as a friend and speaking with him, and I've implemented a lot of things that he's also spoke about and also teaches into my marketing, and it's helped it drastically as well. And all around, just one of not only the nicest but most like down to earth people that I've ever met, not just in this industry, but just in life in general. Absolutely amazing person, along with his wife for sure.
Yeah, they are indirectly for this responsible for this event happening at all because I always thought that these events were bullshit and were just an excuse for people to take a vacation. And let's be honest, there is still some of that. But but he asked me to come speak at his. I was like, yeah, why not? And I did it, and I found out I was wrong. Like I'm not usually wrong. Like sounds arrogant, but I'm usually not wrong about many things. But I was definitely wrong about the value of events. And then after I did a couple more, I was like, there's something here. So yeah, he was somebody because of that, not only because of the immense skill and value he can bring, but that was another reason I wanted to make sure that he was there. I don't know if you know Randy, but he's a seller on Legiit. He's got a big agency, he sells press releases and knows PR really, really well. I don't know if he's ever spoken at an event before, but he's somebody I wanted to have too. I didn't want to have too many of our freelancers, but I did want to have a few of them. And he's one of the ones is going to be speaking there. Do you know Randy at all?
Yeah, I do. He's a great guy. I met him at spring training, another
Oh,
event
right.
that I met him at as well. He also had me on his podcast as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't
He's
know that.
he's a yeah, he's a great guy overall. Like you said, he's really big into press releases, which is something that I didn't do much of. Now I implement it because of speaking to him, getting to know him better, and everything else as well. He's a great guy for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I still don't know how those are done, but I use them like myself. Brock is another great one. I'm actually going to be doing a stream similar to this with him later this week. But he's another like Michael. He's a big character and very very entertaining guy. My memory of him is at your event that I was at last year. You were giving like the title belt thing, and at one point he just picked that thing up and started walking around with it, and it just
Yeah.
felt so natural because he's like a great big guy, and he's so. But he's also brilliant at like GMB and things like that, right?
Mhm. Yeah, he is. He's also just a great human overall. I
Mm.
met him through actually Mike Merlino at an event because we had invited Mike to speak at one of our events, and then he had contacted Brock, and Brock showed up. Brock presented, and I was like, "Wow, I've never heard of this guy before, but he has a lot of knowledge," and known him since then.
Yeah, same. James, who was either was on a little while ago or still here. What do you want? Do you have any interesting insights on James?
Well, James has been around for a while now, so he's someone that I've always known about for years now. I've never met him, at least that I can recall, face to face, but I'm super excited to be able to see him there at Legiit Live, which is going to be great. And he's just an overall great human being.
Yeah, I have a similar story to him that I have with Brian, in that I'd known him from like around, like basically from Facebook for years and years and years, and then I met him at the event. First of all, I didn't recognize him because like I think that's an important point to make is like we're used to seeing people being about that big on Facebook, right? And it's just
Yeah,
a
for
whole
sure.
different thing meeting them in person. And then um, he gave one of the better presentations. I mean, I hate to say that because like it puts down other people, but he gave one of the ones that stuck out for me the most. And he had just a bunch of whole different unique ways of getting clients and growing revenue for clients and just a really unique mind for the business. And he's going to be talking about reputation management, which I don't know if it's something you offer, but is a very, very
Mhm.
difficult thing to do. And that's
Yeah.
very valuable, not only to like us to like sell it, but it's very valuable to people to have it.
hmm Yeah, for sure. I mean, it kind of reputation management, funny enough, reminds me of like way back in the day, like medieval times plus, where like if you gave your word, it meant a lot because people cared about like your family's last name and what the
Mm,
reputation of your family's name was. Was the same thing online, like the reputation of your business. Like when you meet someone for the first time, most of the time people are going to Google you to figure out like, hey, what's going on with this person? Do they have a criminal record? Do they have this? Do they have that? You know what I mean? So it's one
Yeah.
of those things where reputation management is super important for not just yourself personally, but also for your business, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I've spent a lot of time on it, like getting knowledge panels and, making sure that things show up, and I always tell the story in my presentations, but there was a one hit wonder in the 90s named Chris Walker. And that's almost impossible because he's like, so it's not famous, like, famous, but semi-famous. And so it'd be almost impossible to like remove him. So that's why I use the M in everything I do, is because it was my way of like standing out and managing my own reputation. But what James is going to talk about is much more in depth than that. Next up is Robbie, who was on the channel, or I was on his channel not long ago. He does some cool stuff with both Google Maps and with AI, and he's also used Legiit to grow his other businesses, his agency and his AI business and all these things. And he's going to be talking about that. He's another one that maybe not a lot of people know, but I think will really benefit from. And he's got some cool stuff that he's going to be giving us out there as well. So I don't know if you know him at all, but it's another one that I want to get his name out there a bit more. So.
I don't, but I'm excited to meet him.
Yeah. Kira, unfortunately, is not going to be able to make it. She had some issues getting a visa, which is really disappointing because she's another one that not a lot of people know, but she's just absolutely brilliant. I did a live stream with her at the recommendation of a common, whatever, person that we know. And it was
Mutual acquaintance.
Yeah. What's that?
A mutual acquaintance.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it was Mads Singers. I don't know if you know Mads, but
Oh yeah.
yeah. Anyway, and she blew me away with how well she knew international SEO. To me, international SEO was the same thing, but in a different country, and it's not anywhere near that simple. And she knew it really, really well. And I had people requesting me to have her come speak after that stream. So I'm bummed that she's not going to be able to make it, but hopefully we'll get her next time if we do this again. And last but not least is Brian Cato. Do you know Brian?
I do. I met him at an event, SEO Spring Training.
Yeah.
I met him recently. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I met him too. I met him at SEO Spring Training and then at SEO at the beach. And he's been on my channel before. And he's another one that after I did an interview with him, people were asking me to make sure that he came and spoke. So just a very unique perspective on the way he does things, like the way he uses tools, the way he automates things with Google Sheets and stuff, and does a lot of stuff with CTR, and just really unique perspective on the industry.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about him is he's like obsessed with what we do. At spring training, he literally was walking around with his laptop all the time and just showing people, hey, check out this. Hey, I did this. Like he's obsessed with all this stuff, and I love stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it just helps that he's just a great person overall on top of it. But he's like really into the weeds, really into everything that we do. Super,
Yeah.
super smart.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. And if I'm perfectly honest, I'm not that in love with it. Like I like what we do, and I like the life that it has given me. But I'm nowhere near as that level of enthusiasm. I don't mean to speak for you, but I'm sure that's kind of the same for you, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
very
so
true.
it almost makes me feel like I want to step it up when I meet people like that.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, that's that as far as that. We'll come back to the pricing in a minute. The next thing I will talk about myself, I've had a hard time figuring out exactly how to tease this without giving away too much, but there's something that we're going to be bringing to Legiit in the future that will change the way businesses use technology to grow and scale. And we're going to be giving that away for free to everybody that's in attendance. It'll be added to your account right there. I haven't quite figured out how we're going to do that, but it's the biggest problem we found with the almost 7 years we've been at this is that people don't know what to do, whether it's because they have too many options or they don't know what to do, or like they don't have a strategy. And we found a way to make that push button simple for everyone. And everybody that's in attendance is going to get access to that. And it's eventually everyone will, but they're going to have it ahead of time, and they're going to have an unfair advantage for however long it is before we unveil that to the rest of the world. And I wish I could tell more. I'm biting my lip to not give away too much, but this, I guarantee you, is worth the price of admission alone. If I was one of those people we talked about in the beginning, I would be like pitching you this and trying to sell you to it. I'm going to give it away for free to everybody that's there, including the speakers, the attendees, and anybody else that comes. They're going to get access to it for free, and you will be able to change your business and potentially your life before everybody else does. So I don't know what else I can really say about that, but instead of pitching you something, I wanted to give you something on top of that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's really cool.
The hotel, if they still have a handful of rooms left. This is a tourist location, so they are running out quickly. So we made a deal with a really nice hotel right on the beach, Island Vista Resort. I went and checked it out myself. Really beautiful place. I walked by. It's not that anyone's invited to my home, but it's only about 3 minutes from my home, and it's right on the beach. It's a beautiful location. They've made it a little complicated to make sure you get in on our block of rooms, but please, if you're going to come, and I really hope you will, you just tell them that. Hopefully you can read that. Just mention that what it says there, and they will hook you on up. And it's good to like stay in the same location, right? Like I found that that's like we talked about, the networking is really in the value, and then a lot of the best stuff happens before and after, and
Exactly.
stuff, right? So it's important to be at the same place as everyone else, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Because then you have everyone there. You bump into each other on the elevators. Everyone's hanging out in the lobby. Everyone's hanging out by the pool. All these different conversations have introductions take place. Hey, do you know so and so? Like, it's just, for me, the best part of these events, besides the actual event themselves, are the before and after, like you mentioned. And it's always with the same people that are in the same hotel, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I say that because one thing we did differently, and I'm going to talk about the venue here in a minute. And this was something I learned from SEO at the beach. Was there's nothing wrong with the hotel conference room model, but I wanted to do something a little bit unique and have it. And that does create some logistical challenges being in separate places, but I wanted to have someplace cool and someplace different than just the boring like conference room with tables and stuff. And the location is actually in a golf course. And if you don't know, Myrtle Beach has more golf courses than anywhere else in the world. And this is the original golf course here in Myrtle Beach, and that's Pine Lakes Country Club. It's going to be in this building here. They have this nice like ballroom that it's going to be in. And I am not going to tell the whole story, but I have a personal connection to this location because the company I used to work for before I started doing this owned that place at the time that I worked there. And there's a story to that, but it's a really beautiful place. It's a really cool location. It's really it's got some history. It's on a golf course. If you're into that, I know that was very appealing to Terry. So again,
that's the first thing he mentioned to me. He even said it. He was like, "I'm showing up a week early to go golfing."
Yeah. So it's I don't know. I don't know why. I don't really guess that makes that much difference. But I thought I wanted to have someplace cool. The SEO at the beach was at this like car garage that's some billionaire keeps all his like cars there. We don't have anything like that here, but I wanted to do something that's unique to us and kind of just different from the boring like plain conference room type of deal. So there's that. And then of course Myrtle Beach is a great place to vacation. I've lived here all my life, so I can't say that I've ever vacationed here, but there's a ton to do here. To put in perspective the kind of tourist attractions that we have, the year-round population here is about 30,000, and we get 14 million tourists a year. So, that's bigger than most cities. So there's a ton to do here. There's, nightlife, shopping, golf, entertainment, just whatever you can do. And the good part about the time of year that we've chosen is that the weather will still be nice. Hopefully there'll be no hurricanes, but the weather should still be nice. But the tourists will mostly have gone home. So it's like not as congested. So a lot to do here. That's another reason I decided to have it here. Plus it's convenient for me, which I'm being perfectly honest. But it's a cool. If I lived in Idaho, I probably would have had it somewhere else. No offense, Russell Brunson. But so that's another thing you can do here. So there's that. I should mention some of our sponsors: Superstar SEO, my agency, Hardcore Growth, Jim's agency, Local Dominator, which is Eldar's program. It's a Google Maps rank tracker. Map Pack Toolbox, which is Robbie's AI map software, and then SERP Trust. To be perfectly honest, I don't know a ton about them, but they're SEO agency as well. So those are our sponsors, and we're very thankful to them. But I guess what the last thing to talk about is the ticket. Now, you were asking me if I could get you a discount, right? So I was able to do that, and it's on the screen there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, and I definitely appreciate that as well. So just as you mentioned, if you use code Ortiz, it's 35% off. What the current price is for today. Today's the last day, if I remember correctly,
Hmm.
right, Chris? Is that
Yeah.
accurate? Yeah. For it to be these current prices, and just so I know, I'm pretty sure we spoke about it already, but just want to make sure I don't forget. The code will still be applicable
Yeah.
moving forward. It just won't be this same low price after
Correct.
today, right? So everyone, obviously, it makes the most sense for all of you to get in today because it just won't be these prices anymore. But even if you, for some reason, can't get in today or anything else like that, you could still use the coupon code and be able to get a discount.
Yeah. As far as the pricing, I am not going to make a profit off this event. I'm being perfectly transparent because of the pricing. Like, again, some of the events I've gone to are thousands of dollars for tickets, tens of thousands in some cases, and it's
Yeah,
fucking absurd.
so true.
Like I didn't want that to be the thing that if somebody wanted to come and was on the fence, I didn't want that to be the thing that did it. So I made it as cheap as I possibly could. I don't want to say cheap. I wanted to keep the cost as low as I possibly could. And I think that's very reasonable. I don't know. Maybe others disagree, but as far as the specific details, let me of each package, let me zoom in as much as I can. Excuse me. The 2-day, the executive package gets you access to the event. So that's Saturday and Sunday, the 14th and 15th. Excuse me. And you'll also get the wherever it is, the thing that we're going to be giving out. Everybody will get that. And then the VIP package will get you the event, but it'll also get you to access to the VIP party on Friday the 13th. By the way, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh,
And
that's so cool.
yeah, I didn't think of
I
that.
didn't realize that. That's awesome.
And then you'll get lifetime access to the Legiit dashboard for the agency level, which goes for $97 a month. So, that pays a year of that pays off your ticket, right? Your price right there. You'll get preferred seating. I was going to do front row seating, but I find that some people don't want to sit in the front. So we're going to give you a little card where you can sit wherever the hell you want. And then it includes an event recording, which, by the way, we will be selling individually as well, starting probably tomorrow. But you'll get, if you, with the VIP package, you'll get that for free. No, not for free, but included as well. As far as how to purchase, you just come to the site. It's legitlive.com/Ortiz. Make sure you use that and then use your code. You'll click purchase now. And I show this because some people just have struggled with this. So, oh crap. You put in your email, name, all that stuff. I'm showing my home address, so I don't want to show that. But, and then you'll, let me just, I hate when it does that. Let me do this. Hold on. You can tell that we're actually live. See, present.
Yeah, I think it's filling it out through maybe LastPass as well.
It pisses me off. Well, actually, it's just from, I was doing a test order before.
Oh, gotcha.
And thankfully, it didn't show my credit card information. But anyway, you'll click on purchase now. Watch it still show it. No, good. Thank you. You put in whatever ticket that you want, and then you'll put in the coupon code. You put in all your information here. You put in, click here to enter your coupon. I wish it would just show it rather than do that, but you'll put in Ortiz. And just to show you that I'm not full of shit, that will get you 35% off. And if you look, that's basically the cost of an entire regular ticket. So if you buy a VIP ticket, it's like getting a regular one for free, if you want to look at it that way. So
That's awesome.
and then you just click place order, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now, if for some reason you don't have a credit card, you need to use PayPal or something like that, message Legiit support, and they have some options where you can pay directly through Legiit as well. So, using our assets, I guess, is what we're doing there. So, again, I think that's pretty much covers everything about it. I guess the dates, I don't know if I was clear about that, but September 13th, 14th, and 15th, which is a month from right now, literally right this moment. Well, you'll probably be speaking. So,
And that is Friday the 13th when it begins. That's the beginning of VIP day as well. Is that accurate, Chris?
right. And the VIP
Yeah.
event is, this is more just so anybody knows, but if to like plan their trip is 6 p.m. on that Friday. So, you can meet, and there's nothing official the rest of that day. So that'll be a chance to just meet up with the people or whatever. So,
Very nice.
right. And then the event itself will be on Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. registration till And it says 5 p.m., but it probably won't go that long. So as another thing I did was keep the presentations to 30 or 45 minutes rather than an hour, because I don't know about you, but the by the time somebody speaks for an hour, my attention span is gone, even if it's something I'm truly interested in. So I wanted to account for that too, because and
Yeah,
that gives you
I
the
agree.
chance for people to go over. So that's the lineup. Now this is tentative as far as the order, but yeah, I don't know. Does anybody want to ask us any questions, whether it's about the event, whether it's about what we talked about today or anything else? I'd love it if I could get some audience engagement. And again, you're going to be talking about client retention, right?
Yes, correct. Client retention, and obviously I'll be mingling with everyone. If anyone has any questions or anything, or even people just want to talk in general. I mean, that's kind of what these events are for, right? Like it's for like-minded people in the exact same space to be able to help one another in any aspect of their business. And I'm always open to help anyone in any way. And of course, I'm going to be asking people a bunch of questions because I want to grow my stuff too. So,
Yeah, me too. Like
mhm.
it's almost like cheating, to be honest, because like
Yeah,
I get to like host this and I still get to learn from it. So it's like, and then I get to go home and sleep in my own bed that night. So that's nice too,
very
because
true.
I don't like traveling. So, but yeah, if anybody has any questions about the specifics or anything for Gregory or myself, other than that prick at the beginning who was asking me about his account being shut down or whatever, I'm happy to take those. We only have a few minutes left, actually over time already, but we'll stick around for a few more minutes. But if anybody can just drop a question or two, yeah. And while we're doing that, anything else you want to say or cover or talk about?
Nothing really in particular other than I'm really looking forward and honored, obviously, to be speaking at this event. Really looking forward to seeing as many people there as possible, helping anyone that I can in any way. So once again, if you are going to be coming, feel free, please, to come say hello. Definitely want to see and meet everyone and ask any questions you have or share things that you think are going to be helpful to me too. Like I said earlier, like I want to learn as much as possible too. So just really looking forward to this event. I know it's going to be great. Obviously, everything that you and Jim do, you guys put 150% behind everything. So I know it's going to be an awesome event. And I'm really excited to see what it is you're going to be giving us all away for free because even I don't know what it is yet. And I'm really excited to hear and see what it is. So,
Yeah, I've only gotten to play with it. Oh, this sounds bad. That was a bad way to put that. I've only gotten to use it a little bit myself, so I'm like excited to. And I've been mentally writing the way I'm going to unveil it since like March. So I'm really excited to finally be able to give that speech too. I don't know if that's weird, but I
awesome.
that's how I like because I don't like rehearse. I just I mentally rehearse for as soon as I find out I'm going to be speaking somewhere. I'm giving it in my head like all the time, whether I'm working, whether I'm walking, whether I'm working out, whatever. That's how I prepare. Maybe that's a little hack for people that are interested, but I don't rehearse. I know some people do. I don't even write my shit until like the day before a lot of the time. But
Hmm.
that's how I get myself hyped up for it is by the time I get there, I've already in my head, I've already done it 50 or 100 or 1,000 times. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a little tip.
I like to go on my front lawn with a megaphone and do my speech. And if people don't honk at me, I know I'm doing okay.
You live in
No,
New Jersey, right? So that's
imagine.
like
Yeah.
not weird.
Imagine if I did
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, in New
well,
Jersey, that's like everybody else too. So you're fine.
yeah.
Joseph says, looking forward to this and the new feature as well. I heard food in the is included in the package, so that's great. Yeah, so there will be like snacks and coffee and water and stuff like that available throughout the day, and then there will be lunch. So you don't have to leave, but you can if you want to. Myrtle Beach has more restaurants per square mile than anywhere in the world, so there's tons and tons of options. Um, so yeah,
I didn't know that. That's actually pretty interesting.
yeah.
That's very cool.
Now, you know, it's a lot of corporate stuff. It's so because it's tourist town, so we want stuff that I mean, they don't consult me, but tourist towns they do corporate stuff because it's familiar to people. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's literally more restaurants per square mile than anywhere in the world. So
that's
that's
cool.
thousands of them. So yeah, but if you don't want to go somewhere, there's that. I guess I should mention too that the hotel and the venue are about a 5-minute Uber from one another, so it's like not far at all. Because that would suck, right? If you had to go long distance. In fact, that one event I went to in Florida, the airport was like an hour drive from where the venue was, which sucks. Here, everything is within like a 5 to 10 minute drive at most. So you remember that event, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that
Oh
was
yeah.
like I was like blown away how long it took to get from the airport to the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in Cocoa Beach, so yeah, it
Yeah.
was definitely a bit of a drive.
Yeah, a fun story. I went to Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and one of my many layovers was in Orlando.
I remember you kept posting on
Yeah,
Facebook about your uh, travels.
yeah. In Orlando, I had a 7 hour layover, and they have a hotel in the airport there, so you don't have to leave the airport to go to the hotel. I got a room for like 4 hours just because like the Pete's like sleeping on a fucking bench in the middle of the airport in the middle of the night. So it's anyway, it's just a little
I,
anecdote.
I
So
didn't even know they had one inside the airport. That's interesting.
yeah, it's really nice actually. It's a Hyatt, and it was really cool. It was really trendy, and like a courtyard in the middle of the rooms. So it was kind of like it was kind of neat.
That's
And I
cool.
was very grateful for it because it was the best $300. It was $300 for fucking 4 hours that I was there, but worth every penny because
That's
airports
awesome.
suck, especially after I'd been traveling for 17 hours and had another 10 ahead of me at that point. So
Yeah.
Jessica says, timing of this is great too. Enough time to explore Myrtle Beach after each session, especially Broadway at the beach. Yeah, so Broadway at the beach, Dave and Buster's is at I don't even know what you would call it, a complex here called Broadway at the beach, which takes up like 4 city blocks and has a lot of shopping, a lot of nightlife, a lot of restaurants, a lot of stuff to do. It's like, I don't know how accurate this is, but they say it's the most attended attraction in South Carolina. I don't know how you can gauge something like that, but there's a ton of stuff to do there. I was there, and that's where it is right there. So you can see it's a really cool location. So after the VIP event, you can go hang out there. We almost had the event at this Hard Rock, but they wanted like 15 grand a day or something ridiculous like that. So, but anyway, cool place to hang out. Some big attraction, lots of stuff to do there too. So I'm glad she mentioned that. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I guess this was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited. Every time we do one of these, I'm like more hyped for it, and
That's
sometimes I
awesome.
can't believe that this is my life. I remember that job at Circuit City that I talked about earlier. During my interview there, they asked me what department I wanted to work in, and I didn't know. I was just applying for a job, and I said, and they told me the different options. I was like, maybe you should put me in the warehouse because I'm really not very good with people, so you should keep me away from them. Uh, why he hired me to this day, I don't know. But the fact that I'm doing these kinds of things now, like, it makes me feel like a whole different person. So, but last time, it's legitlive.com/Ortiz, coupon code Ortiz. It gets you 35% off. The dates are September 13th for VIP and then 14th and 15th for everybody. That's a month from today. It's in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which the hotel is Island Vista Resorts right on the beach. It's a beautiful location. And then the venue is Pine Lakes Country Club. You'll be able to get from A to B pretty easily. Tons of stuff to do here. Again, thank you to our sponsors. And thank you to our presenters for making the event full. And then these are the prices, and this is what you get with each. And everybody will get access to this. So I don't know. Let's call it a day, unless you have anything else.
No, that's all. Once again, thank you so much for having me. Really looking forward to the event. Really looking forward to seeing everyone there. It's going to be amazing. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right. I will be, I don't know the details quite yet, but I'll be back on Friday with, God, every time I say his name, I want to say Brock Lesnar. Brock Mesner is so close. It's like almost not fair, especially
It
because he's
really
a great
is.
big dude too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Very good.
but he'll have some cool stuff to talk about, and then we'll be doing some more of these. But check it out. I hope to see you there. We're going to do our best to make it something of value for you. And if not, at least you get to come to a cool vacation spot. So you win no matter what happens. And thank you for watching. Thank you for spending some time with us today. I know that you have a lot of different options to do with your time. And the fact that you chose to spend some of it with us is something I will never take for granted. So thank you for that. I'll see you again soon. Have a good one. Peace.
Bye, everyone.